Hi everybody, Cerebrosana in Paris. I want to make a quick video just to reconnect with you guys because I told you last time that I was going out into the country for a couple of days to escape the insanity of the city. And I also told you that I was bringing my computer so I could stay in contact with you, and that did not go well because Google again blocked me from connecting to my own account. This just continues to aggravate me because it says suspicious sign-in attempt prevented. Now obviously I could only see this when I got back home because I could not connect to my accounts. And then they want you to click and say, yes, it was me. Don't ever click, yes, it was me. Because then you're just giving them the satisfaction of like adding yet another tracking point for you. And it doesn't prohibit them because it's always the same computer. Right? They say unknown device, but that's a lie because it's my regular computer that that I use all the time. So that's a lie. I'm in France. It's not like I'm even far away. So this whole suspicious sign-in attempt, Google prevented someone who knows your password from signing into your account. Yeah, that just doesn't fly, Google. Just doesn't work. So I just wanted to point you to my video, which I made a couple of years ago. When I got my new channel. It's right here. It's called Xmarks the Spot. I rewatched it and I literally could have remade the exact same video word for word this time around. So since this was posted back when I didn't have a whole lot of subscribers, I do suggest that you go back and watch it because it really just explains the insanity of living in a virtual prison. You know, you only get to connect to your account when Google can verify that you're someplace else other than where they're used to seeing you. So I wanted to tell you that. The other thing that's aggravating is I am no longer getting any alerts, right? This happened a couple of months ago and I came in, I was able to find how to, activate these notifications, and somehow this thing had been set to, it was off. So when I reset it, I obviously started getting my notifications again, but for the past week, since the 13th, you can see right here, the last time I got an alert that someone had uploaded a video was a week ago on August 13. So like Google, YouTube, what is going on? I mean, I'd like to know when my subscriptions are posting videos. So it's kind of frustrating because I'm now like having to check my subscriber list and to see, who's uploaded, but that's not the way it's supposed to work. So I don't appreciate that. So what I wanted to share with you is something that happened 2 nights ago. I went out to the Eiffel Tower to dance. Paris, as I mentioned, Paris has instituted this mandatory mask everywhere outside in certain, I say everywhere outside, in, high traffic areas, touristy zones. And I just went out to see how far I could get, what it would be like, and to see who was out there, see if I could have a nice evening dancing. And it was kind of crazy, guys, because, there were, I don't even know where to begin. The insanity is just so over the top. There were these 2 people who were wearing these sort of, when you were like in high school or junior high and you had bad teeth, you had braces, right? But there were people who had like serious braces on their teeth, and they would have like this big thing that would like exterior that would like attach to their mouth and stuff. And I mean, I never wore braces, but it was just one of those horrible things on somebody's face. It's like, oh, that can't be fun. So when I saw these 2 people at the dance the other night, I'm like, man, that just looks like those ugly retainer things. Not even the retainer. It was like this mouth gear, serious mouth gear, because the mask, it was like a transparent piece of plastic with a big, like, thing that would hold the curve in place. It was white and then it attached to their ears, and it didn't really cover their nose. So it's kind of like open from the top and then it goes under their chin and everything. And they just look like idiots. They just look like, have you looked in the mirror? Have you seen what you look like wearing these things? And so they're dancing amongst themselves, and I did see them dancing with others. And, my guiding principle at the moment is if somebody with a mask asks me to dance, I will not dance with them. I'm not dancing with anybody with a mask on. It's just not going to happen. So ironically enough, nobody with a mask, except a woman. A woman came up to ask me to dance the other night. This is 2 nights ago. A masked woman And I said this to somebody, and the person said, "How can you be sure?" I said, "Well, it was wearing a skirt, so I think but having said that, I went out a couple of weeks ago dancing, and there were men wearing skirts in the center of Paris. So who the hell knows who anybody is anymore?" But anyway, so I did say to this supposed woman, I said, "Don't take it the wrong way, but I'm gonna, no, I'm not. I don't want to dance with you." I said, "Number one, the mask is a total turn off." I didn't say turn off. I mean, turn off has another meaning in English, but the word I used in French was just totally pushes me away. And secondly, I said, so the mask is totally pushing me away. And secondly, I prefer to dance with men, which is just the way it is. Sorry for all of you women who want to dance tango with women. That's fine, but it's just not my thing when I go out dancing. So anyway, all that to say that the people with the transparent masks, when I showed up, it was still daylight. The sun hadn't completely set yet, so I could clearly see these people with their little dental gear, right? But as the sun went down, and this is what I'm going to show you right here, I started filming at one point, and what was so funny was that the light of the Eiffel Tower started reflecting off their masks, and I'll just show you that. Okay, do you see there's like a flash over here? I'm just going to jump ahead. And what we're looking for are flashes of white. Okay? Because they're actually over here. They're going to come into view in a minute. This is them. Okay, see that? See, look. Okay? This is their stupid mask catching the light of the Eiffel Tower. And I thought that was just hysterical. There they are. There's two of them. Both of them. Okay? That is their shiny plastic dental gear catching the light. Okay, it's kind of sad. You can't really see, but you get the idea. The comedy comes from the fact that the light is reflecting off their stupid mouth masks. So, in preparing this video, I just Googled up transparent mouth visor. I'm like, I have no idea what this thing would be called, but it looks like a transparent mouth visor. And the first thing that came up was exactly what these idiots had on their faces. This is what they were wearing. I mean, really, people? Really? I just don't understand it. I just walk around these days just shaking my head. I don't know. I'm speechless. Just speechless. And the other thing I wanted to show you very quickly is that we've got all of these new decrees. We have a new decree that has been interpreted as a green light for authorities to take out their own decrees and make the mask mandatory in open air spaces. Okay, so this is an article from Montpellier, and this is the center of their city, and the big, huge mega sign, right, saying that you have to wear this mask. But what I found interesting in this article, this is actually an article saying that a man is suing the city because of this obligation to wear the mask outside. And I thought, well, that's great. That's great. He's just aligning with a certain movement that is getting up and running here, where there are a lot of people that are contacting the courthouses, and they're bringing suits against it, and we're getting good decisions, right? The courthouses are ruling in favor of the illegality of these measures. However, that's not what this article is about. That's not why the man is suing. He's not suing because it's an infringement on his privacy. He's not suing because it affects his health, that he could, reduce oxygen and it's going to put him at risk. No. He's suing because it's too expensive. Because if he has to do it properly, it says that a man from Montpellier, a 50-year-old man, decided on August 17th to sue because of the mask being mandatory in the center of town. And he said that this is one of those things that it's, how can I say, when you hear that he's a 50-year-old man, father of 5, who is on welfare, it gives you an idea of a certain type of person. So he's obviously, but more power to him to stand up to justice. But because they say it like that, he says you need at least 2 masks per person. So that means 14 masks every day. And he said it's really difficult because I don't have enough money to buy all those masks. And if he refuses to wear the mask, he runs the risk of getting a €135 fine. All right, so he's scared of getting fined, and he's claiming that it's just too expensive. It's too expensive. He doesn't have enough money to buy masks for all his kids every day, 14 masks a day, etc. So I thought that was an odd tact, shall I say, an odd way to approach this. And then they said that the lawyer is actually going to argue on the basis of the proportionality. You know, these measures are supposed to be proportional to the risk. And pretty much everybody is saying that the risk is literally zero at the moment. So anyway, so my comment on this was simply that I thought it odd that he would invoke the fact that it's just too expensive. Because then they'll be like, okay, well, we'll just have to distribute masks to everyone. So now, you know, that argument becomes a moot point because we've now furnished you with, you know, a week's supply of masks and you're going to get your mask delivery every week. And who the hell knows? I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. And that just sort of ties in with these posters that we're seeing up now around town where you've got one of the political parties is saying, we want free masks, right? Free masks for everybody. Which, you know, I just wish our elected representatives, so to speak, were actually out there fighting for our rights. I mean, real rights, not like fake rights. Like, we want free masks. Oh, the masks are expensive. So the government should be giving us all free masks. That's, you know, I mean, even I received a mask in the mailbox from my mayor. Thank you very much. I haven't even opened the envelope. It will remain closed. Yeah, so then the other thing I wanted to mention was this article from a website called Génétique. It's a play on words. Genetic ethics. Okay, if we're going to translate that back into English. And why am I showing you this, people? I'm showing this. This is an article from June, mid-June. Because what they're trying to do at the European level is temporarily lighten up the rules surrounding the use of GMOs in medical trials. Okay, and they just go on to say that European countries have rules that are much more strict regarding GMOs and their use than other countries in the world. For example, Italy, France. Italy and France need special authorizations from certain government services and the environment to do the research, etc. So why is this an issue? Because when they're trying to develop these new vaccines that contain GMOs, they're trying to make it easy for the labs over here to test these new experimental vaccines that function with GMOs, right? Not to mention that they're going to turn us into GMOs. So you don't really know exactly, you know, what this is all about. They're not going to say that they're going to turn us into GMOs, but if you've done any research into what these mRNA vaccines are about, it's about re-encoding our DNA, folks. So that would make us a GMO. Okay. So it does say down here that this would just be a temporary measure just during the time of, you know, the emergency situation for the 19. We're just going to call it the 19 from now on, okay? Speaking of which, remember this? We got one! Yeah, well, I've gotten more than one. I've had the luck of running into actually several people who have had the 19. And I can tell you this, people, they are damn proud of it. Have you run into somebody like this? They want to tell you that they had the 19, and it's like they almost want to pull out a medal and show you that they have a medal. You can't tell them that it was the flu. You can't tell them anything. They don't want to hear it. All they want to do is tell you that they had the 19. So the first person that I ran into that had the 19, this was on a dance floor. I was dancing in front of the Opera House just a few weeks ago. And I was dancing with a friend, so I know who he is. At one point, he was sweating a lot, and he says, oh, I got that covered. Hang on one sec. And he starts to reach into his pocket, and I said, do whatever you need to do, as long as it's not a mask. And so he pulls out a bandana, and he's putting it on his forehead, and he says, oh, you don't have to worry about getting the 19. I had it. I put my hands on his shoulders, and I just looked at him square in the eyes, and I just said, you had the flu. And he says, oh, well, that's what they told me at first. But then, no, it was definitely the 19. I said, how do you know? Oh, because of the test. Oh, we did the test. First it was negative, then it was positive. So, no, I had the 19. And I said, oh, really? So where did it affect you? Because as you've heard, at first it was respiratory, then it was gastro, and then it was this, and then it was that, and the long shopping list of symptoms that just kept getting longer and longer and longer. So I just very simply said, so how did it affect you? He didn't really want to answer it, but he grabbed my wrist and he pulled me off the dance floor to keep talking. And so I was asking him pointed questions. I mean, politely, but I was asking him pointed questions. And, I said, what kind of test? I said, was it the PCR test or was it the antibody test? And then he's sort of dancing around, no pun intended. He's not giving me any straight answers, basically. And then he cuts me off at one point and says, do you know what I did for a living? Because I guess he's retired. Do you know what I did for a living? I said, no, why don't you tell me? And he's like, doctor. And for like 40 years, he says. And I didn't even get to ask, like, well, what kind of doctor? And I said, well, that's great. So I have even more desire to speak with you about this. Being a doctor, I really would like to know more about your experience. And I was dead serious. And so the more I'm asking him questions and giving him information and asking him for what would make him say that, because this is the other thing that I use. It's like, oh, really? Well, what makes you say that? To get them to tell you what their sources are. Right? I will cite my sources. I will show you the PDFs. I will show you the studies. I will give you anything you want to see. I will back up what I'm saying. So I asked him, well, what makes you say that? Oh, well, the consensus, the scientists, the consensus. Yes, and who in reliable specialists, he said, and who might that be? Could you cite, could you give me some names that you find reliable specialists, especially being a doctor, right? And I seriously wanted the information. Oh, no, I'm not getting an answer. I'm not getting straight answers out of the guy. So then he sort of switches gears and starts attacking me. I can't talk medicine with you, he says to me like that. Just nasty. I can't talk medicine with you because I'm not a doctor. Oh, really? But I have information, and I'm not an idiot, and what I'm saying makes sense, especially to a doctor who would understand what I'm talking about, because sometimes you want to talk about some technical stuff with, like, Joe Guy on the street. They're not necessarily going to follow you. So I was thrilled to have a doctor in front of me to discuss this with. No. So he starts saying, you're never going to convince me of anything. I said, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm trying to talk to you and get some information and dialogue about this, converse about this. I can't talk medicine with you. And he's getting snooty with me. And he says, you're in your own world. You're a conspiracy theorist, and you're in your own world, he said to me. And that's when I just turned and walked away. I was like, yeah, not going to waste my time here. And he was actually at the dance 2 nights ago, and I made a point to never be in his line of sight and to avoid. I just don't want to subject myself to that. So he was the first person that had the 19 and was damn proud of it and didn't want to talk about it. And then the second person, actually second and third person, are a husband and wife who just had a baby during the lockdown. So I met like the first lockdown baby of the year, who was at the event as well. And the guy said to me, oh, I had the 19. And I said, oh, really? And again, well, tell me about it. How did it affect you? Oh, man, I was wiped out for 2 weeks. I was in bed. Oh, man, I was totally wiped out. Fever, just wiped out. I said, really? Well, how did they treat it? Oh, they just gave me Tylenol, he said to me. I said, oh, really? And I said, "Are you how do you know you had it?" "Oh, the test. They did the test, and they wouldn't let me see my daughter. She was being born in the hospital, and then my wife had it, and then the baby got it, and it's like so I met the 19 family. Right, the whole family had the 19, and you can't tell them otherwise. And they're not telling you anything particularly interesting other than that some tests told them that they had it. But when you, especially with the doctor guy that I was just telling you about, I was telling him about the PCR test and the RNA and how these things work, and you would think that you could almost have a discussion with somebody who would know about these things, so that would be a positive exchange. No. He just kept shooting me out of the air, saying, "I can't talk about these things with you." No, it should be, "I don't want to talk about these things with you because you're making me uncomfortable," is what he should have told me. So anyway, so I will just leave it at that. So yeah, the insanity has ramped up severely over here. I have continued to not wear a mask in any circumstances, and that is going to be my position for as long as it takes. I'm never putting on a mask. So so that is that. So listen, people, I hope you're doing well this summer, and I would love to know, what's up in your world, and leave your comments below. Give this video a little like if you would be so inclined, and I will be back soon with more information. So that's it for now, guys. Sana signing off from Paris. Bye, everybody.